juicy tips there. Love it, love it. A lot of push week. Folks, I'm excited. So this is what I want to do. If you could pull out your notes, and I just want to give you my close. It's really simple. In fact, one of the things you'll notice, if you're in your first 10 days, raise your hand. Who's in a fast start mode right now? Okay. I literally want you to just change your close tonight. I want you to change it to this. Now, I don't want you to do this until you've practiced it once. And you can role play it in your office before phone jam tonight. You can do it tonight before you go out bowling and go to sports bar. I don't know, Trey, what we're doing tonight. Are you guys going to Flanagan's or something? We're doing something fun. But I encourage you, just go to this. And so the theme of my message is dropping bombs, okay? Now, when you hear that, dropping bombs, okay? And I can't unmute everyone right now, but by show of hands, give me some hand signals. When you hear dropping bombs, is that like small sales or big sales? Show me. Like dropping big sales, right? Okay. So that's like my boo-boo, if you know. Like whenever I do something and I mess up at home, especially with the kids, I'll go, Papa boo-boo. I'll say, I have 2 daughters. Papa boo-boo. Like, yeah, Papa boo-boo. Papa messed that one up. If I fall off something, if I break something, I drop something on the ground. Papa boo-boo. My bad. So Papa DVM boo-boo, Jeffy boo-boo here, okay? Dropping bombs, I want to be careful. What I'm going to show you is how to sell bigger sets. Dropping bombs doesn't mean that selling a homemaker signature complete is a big sale. That would actually ruin your mentality as a sales rep. So lesson number 1, your mentality, what is a big sale, is going to be the biggest part of this. If you think selling a homemaker is a big deal, then that is the limit of your potential as a high-end sales rep. I had one of you, someone on there, probably, yeah, I think on this Zoom. It happens all the time, by the way. So I'm not singling you out. In fact, I won't even use your name or what office you're from. But the response was, hey, Jeffy, I just had a really ginormous, like huge sale. I'm thinking, okay, cool. It's cool. Like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. And they said, oh, it was like $1,500. All right. And I went, oh, okay. So right now I know that's like, all right. And the analogy I use, and I'm looking at actually at, there's no need to turn the camera anywhere. There's no need to turn the camera. And there's no need to. He or she knows who they are, but it happens because I used to do it too. Check this out. So I'm actually looking at the screen, and one of my reps, and not to put her on blast, but Tara plays flag football in college. I think that's killer, by the way. Girls flag football in college. Tara, people don't know who you are, so you don't have to hide your face. They don't know. Okay, Tara's in the white shirt in the front row. There you go. Ha. And I always use a football analogy for this. Okay. Have you ever noticed, and even if you're not a sports fan or a football fan nonetheless, you ever watch a football game and can you always tell someone who's never scored before when they do score? Give me a head nod if you know what I'm talking about. Like when they finally score, it's like they go crazy and like, you ever see someone who just drops touchdowns all the time? At some point, they're like, yeah, that's what I do. It's like they don't have to celebrate because they expect it. So for me, dropping bombs, if anything, I want you to switch from a big order for me, and I want you to write this down. Selling a homemaker up to a complete is just doing the job. Just doing the job. Why? Because if you really understand the product, forget the money income you make and forget the commission, forget the price. What is the set that helps a customer who has to cook or loves to cook or is just obsessed with cooking? Right? That's just doing the job, is helping them get that set of Cutco. For me, I literally feel like a sack of potatoes. I was going to say the other one. I just feel bad when I sell them a piece or two and they don't have Cutco. Like, what the hell did I just do for an hour? Like, I didn't help them. I feel bad. Now, it doesn't always work out where you sell a set. I literally feel bad, or I go, and I just spent an hour with you. You have no Cutco. You have garbage dollar store knives, or you have wool stuff that's already old and dull. And I managed to sell you like a pair of scissors and 2 knives. Like, oh. And I don't do that in front of the customer, but I feel genuinely bad. It's like someone trying to sell a car and I sold you a tire instead of the car. It's like, imagine I worked at BMW and I sold you, I had a really good sale. It was okay. They decided, they really couldn't afford the BMW. So I did sell them a tire, the tailpipe, and then the steering wheel. What? But that's how I feel when I sell pieces. Not because of less money for me, but genuinely. So that's my second tip. Do you want to help the customer? It's a second tip. Do you genuinely come in? I would say things like, Mrs. Jones, I am technically a salesperson, but I want you to know my job is to help service you and get you a product that can change your life, like literally financially and how you enjoy your quality of life. That's what I'm presenting you today. Say that instead of I'm selling you knives. My job is to present you a product that can literally save and change how your finances and change your quality of life in the kitchen. And if you don't believe that, then you probably should wait to do appointments until you believe that. Otherwise, you're just trying to knock up your friends and family for sales and money. That's how it feels if you don't believe it. And I have felt that way before. I was like, oh man, but I genuinely know, like I really believe in the product. So point number 3, you should be using your product. Shame on you if all you do is pull out the knives from when you do an appointment. If you have not cut food at home with the Cutco, shame on you. That's like, I'm selling a BMW. I just use a BMW analogy. It's easy. It's like going to the dealership and someone's trying to sell me a BMW and I say, what do you drive? And they say, I drive a Honda. I'm not buying a BMW from you if you drive a Honda. I want to know that you know what happens when you go from sport and comfort mode to adaptive mode. I want to know when you take the traction off, what happens. I want you to know that you know the sensor. Like these are all parts of the BMW because we get a free BMW when you work here. It's pretty sick. And now Tesla, by the way, which is, I never thought I'd like it, but I actually like it. It's like the mom car. But I'm saying, no offense if you're a guy and have a Tesla, I just, man. So you got to understand that we're what is big and what's not big. B, are you in the service of helping people? Okay. So dropping bombs is not, I'm teaching you the big sale. Okay. So 1,000 to 3,000 or homemaker orders to a complete set is just doing the job. Or you'll see hashtag DDJ, doing the job, like DUH, doing the job. So imagine every time you sell a homemaker signature complete, instead of celebrating, going, yep, that's the job. Like that's what I do. I drop touchdowns. It's a touchdown. Okay. So here's what I want you to take from this. It's actually pretty short. The first thing I want you to write down is 4 to 5 no's, 4-5 no's. And some of you know this, but I'm going to show you how it ties in. 4 to 5 no's. In the psychology of sales, not Cutco sales, but all sales. So take this for those of you that want to run a business or want to be in sales or in anything where you have to end up closing a deal of some sorts. The average customer in life, buying a car, buying a home, buying Cutco knives, buying something from the dollar store, you typically have to say no 4 or 5 times before you say yes. Raise your hand if you can already think of something that happened to you where you had to say no in your mind or out loud 4 or 5 times by show of hands and you said yes. Okay. Maybe that prom dress, ladies. Maybe your first car. Maybe something that was a little bit out of your comfort zone. You could afford it if you needed to, but you didn't want to afford it or you weren't used to affording it. By show of hands, how many of you for and genuinely, honestly, inside your physical body, anything swiping the credit card for over 500 hurts? Like if I said, hey, I need you to swipe your card for your money, not your parents, but your money. If it's 500 and you go, oh, damn, like, oh, like right here, like 500. Okay. So ready? You know what Mac customers do? We just add a 0. So like how you feel about swiping for 500 is how I typically feel about 5,000. It's like, well, wait a minute. What are we buying? Let me know what we're buying first. 500 for me is like 50. It's like $50 for you. Some of you spend $50 on a weekend and you wake up at 1 a.m. after going out of the weekend. You don't even know where the hell you spent $50. Facts. Okay. But here we are talking about 1 to 3,000 that's doing the job. A big order for me is when you sell 4 to 7,000 or more. 4,000 to 7,000 or more. How do you get there? You sell a complete set and then some. And I'm going to talk about that on the presentation today. Okay. So give me a light bulb if you're already getting some nuggets on how to think about it. Okay. If you walk in and you believe that 1,000, what's the homemaker cost nowadays? I don't even know. Give me like a fingers. The numbers have changed 9 times. And okay. Tara, give me the number. How much is a homemaker? 1, 5. Okay, 1,500. Okay. Mine was 683. You believe that, joint? Oh my gosh. And if you wanted to get the white handles, you had to pay a little more, 709. You believe that? Older. I'm older. Okay. So $1,500. I just like, anyway, I could probably go for an hour. All I'm saying is you can't, if you walk in and I really believe that $1,500 is a lot of money. And if I sell that, I'm like, wow, I'm doing great. You don't know this. You don't even realize it, but you are oozing that to the customer. You are oozing that, oh, if you spent $1,500, you got the big one. Wow, damn, thanks a lot. That was awesome. Versus our top reps that have an average order of $1,000 or $2,000, they just expect, hey, you get what you pay for. And this is one of my key phrases. Good products aren't cheap and cheap products aren't good. You know that, Mrs. Jones, better than I do. I'm not an adult yet. Good products aren't cheap and cheap products aren't good. You know that, Mrs. Jones. This isn't even the workshop for this, but I could tell you multiple phrases where I just talk about value. And Mrs. Jones, you can buy a cheap Target laptop or you can buy an Apple MacBook. You know which one's going to last longer for your kid, right? You can buy a used car for $1,000 or you can spend $50,000 on a decent car. You know which one's going to last longer. Mrs. Jones, good products aren't cheap, but also cheap products aren't good. And you know that better than I do. You're an adult. I'm not. That's not even this workshop. That was just a little extra fire for you. You're welcome. You're welcome. De nada. Okay. Little did you know you'd even get a little comedy show today from me. Dropping bombs, okay? Not dropping bombs because it's big. Ready? Dropping bombs because this is how you accelerate your promotion by selling sets. Oh, one last thing. I do have to say this. So back to the 4 to 5 no's. So if a customer says no, to me, that's just the beginning of the game and the fun and the process. When someone says, oh, no, honey, it's too expensive or I can't afford it or it's too many pieces, I just think, okay, cool. So I have to help them get past this 3 or 4 more times. And I'm going to get them something that they're going to use every day, lasts forever, is guaranteed, and they're going to love it. Okay. So that first no isn't a, oh, they didn't buy it. See, here's what happens when you're new. That first no, hey, Jason, no, honey, right now is not a good time. And when we're new, we do this. Like our shoulders drop down a little bit. We don't even realize we tilt by 10 degrees, 2 degrees down. And your puppy dog little adjustment in body language basically says defeated. Versus, so Mr. Payment, Mrs. Payment, would you like to go and get that set today? And I can offer you the free stuff. Okay. You can't afford it. I totally understand. You know what? A lot of people have said they can't afford it too. I'm just curious, when you say you can't afford it, as a sales rep, I really need to make sure I help the customer. When you say you can't afford it, is it like it's too much money for the knives? Like it's not like too expensive, or too much money for your specific budget right now because of what you're spending money on? Okay, so okay, so you're saying it's your budget. Okay, awesome, Mrs. Jones. Just a quick question. Is that like a lot too much or just like a tiny bit too much out of the budget? A lot. Okay, well, let me shut up, and stop being high pressure. Let me just go to the next set because this is the next part of the job. But if you're interested in this, I could probably work out a special. But the next step in the next set in our line is the galley set, right? You see, just no shaking confidence. Like, oh, okay, great. Like, no doesn't mean I have to stop, and if you keep talking, they're going to be pissed at you. No means, oh, okay, they just said no to the first option. When my wife says, hey, what do you want to do? And I say, how about we go see a movie? And she says, no. I don't go, oh, well, then let's just not go out. Well, you guys see that? That you guys are laughing, but that would be the equivalent. So what do you want to, baby? What do you want to do? She says to me, I don't know. You want to go see a movie? Oh, I don't really want to see a movie. Oh, are you mad at me? Like what? Versus, oh, okay. Now you don't want to see. How come you don't want to see a movie? You don't want to go out, or is it you just don't want to actually see a movie if we go out? Oh, okay, cool. How about like just confident, and it's the next step. So when you think as a high level sales rep, can you think to yourself, every time someone says no, all I have to do is handle the objection and get to the next no. And typically you get to a yes. So secondarily, if that, just follow my logic here. And since I'm not live, you have to watch me. If you start at the homemaker, which is you're all taught on page 14, the first number you drop is the homemaker plus A. Give me a head nod if you know, like we all have the same manual. Okay. So at page 14, you start here. If you start with the homemaker at 15 hundo, if they say no 4 or 5 times and you do it right, you're probably at a starter set. Call it an essentials galley, or essentials or studio, which ironically enough, watch this. Here's a little mind blow for you. Ironically enough, 4 to 5 no's from a homemaker is $300 to $400, which literally is the average order of our company. The reason our average order is $300 to $400, and this is going to blow your mind, it's not because $300 to $400 get you an average amount of Cutco. In fact, now that you know the prices, what does $300 to $400 get you? 3 or 4 dinky pieces? That's not. So how is that average amount? It's not. It's an average order. An average amount of Cutco is the homemaker. The reason the average order is $300 to $400 is because most people start at the homemaker, and when they work with the customer and help them 3 or 4 no's, they get to $300 to $400. So in theory, watch me. If this is where you guys are starting, all I'm saying is start 2 or 3 steps higher. Now, You could start with the complete set. And what I'm going to tell you, some of you have started trying to start with the complete and going down. There's a lot more nuances, and that's actually like 3 steps advanced, and you might be hurting yourself. Versus what I'm going to show you is a little bit more softer, but you are starting higher. So in theory, you could start with the whole book. You say, Mrs. Jones, I'll tell you what, the whole Cutco line, the whole Cutco kitchen, knives, pots and pans, forks and spoons, accessories, your entire kitchen will be the brand of Cutco. That goes for $7,654. And on the payment plan, it only works out to blank a month. And for free, I could give you an ultimate set for your daughter's wedding. So did you want to go and get that one today? Oh, no, honey, we weren't looking to spend that much. Okay, one no out of the way. So the next one would be the mini kitchen, where we'll take out the pots and pans. We'll do the complete set. We'll do this. That one's only $5,452. Is that a little bit more palatable? And that's okay. No problem. My job is to go through all the sets. Next, no. Okay. Next one is we'll take out the forks and spoons. In fact, we'll just do this. How's that one? No. Okay, Mr. Jones, tell you what, forget the kitchen. What we can do is just start with the knives. In this case, this is called the ultimate set. We call it the complete set. It's for people who love to cook or they just want to have the nicest. And that one goes for only blank. And that's blank per month. Yeah, you know what, Jeff? Let's do that. We didn't really want to get the big one. So let's just start with that. You can see what happened there? You'll have customers say, let's just start with the complete set because we don't want to get the whole big thing. All because how I framed it. So what I'm going to show you, when you get really advanced, like at SE2, they'll teach you how to start with the whole damn book. And it's awesome, but you're too new to do that. What I'm going to show you is a different model, and it's actually not starting with the complete set either. It's called the small, medium, and large clothes. And I'm going to go into the message. You can write down small, medium, and large clothes. And the premise of this workshop is to show you that the way you want to view it is that you have a small, medium, large. There's the homemaker small, signature medium, and complete is large. And what you're going to do is you're going to present your normal presentation at the end instead of say, Mrs. Jones, so this is our homemaker +8, and you explain the homemaker and then you present the homemaker price. You're going to present all 3 together, and they're going to pick one of the 3, and that's what you close on. So if they, and I'll show you how it all works together. Okay. So take a look at the screen, and managers, you should have all these slides. And if not, I will get these over to you. Okay. In fact, let me copy a few slides here. Okay. So first of all, managers, let me, Miss Jess, if you don't mind, I'm going to put, is Jess free to forward into group chats? Or any of the managers? Okay, I'm gonna put it into United Chat, and then you can forward, not this one just yet. Okay. So here are the 3 sets: small, medium, large. Our small is our basic set called the Homemaker +8. Our medium is the signature, and our large, the complete, is the ultimate. It has 8, 10, and 12 table knives. And then in the case of the signature and the ultimate, it's got the steak knives. Give me a thumbs up if you already know this. This is pretty, like, you should already know this, right? Okay. That's not new. So what I like to do is I like to really think about, okay, and some of you know this, but I think it's a good review. I like to think about it as, okay, the small is for people who have to cook. So for me, when you think have to cook, I think I want to get the heck out of the kitchen. I don't even like cooking, but I need knives. That's my homemaker. For many of you, a homemaker is like the goal, like the touchdown. For me, a homemaker is like a first down. Like a homemaker is you have to cook. You want the the basic knives. Medium is if you like to cook. So ready? Have to cook means you want to get in and out of the kitchen and you have kids. Like to cook means you have to cook, but once a month or twice a month, you'll throw down for dinner or for a party. So if you're taking notes, that's how you can explain it. The medium, the signature, that's like you have to cook, but once or twice a month, you actually throw down either a dinner or you like to cook on the weekend for a party. Okay. And in fact, someone say, oh, our most popular set's the homemaker. That's actually not even true. The most popular set is the signature. Because the homemaker is if you have to get the heck out of the kitchen. The signature is if you you have to cook, but once in a while you throw down. And then the complete set is if you love to cook and entertain, or if you like nice things. Like in Broward County, I always use those Southwest Ranches moms. And in Miami, I talked about those Cocoa Plum, like high-end Coral Gables moms, where they have like stuff they don't even touch, but it's really nice because they want it only to be high quality. There's some people are like that. So small, medium, large. Thumbs up if you're following so far. Pretty basic, right? So watch. This slide you can actually put. I'm going to put this in United, and this can forward out to the mid. Everyone, just I'm going to send this entire slide deck out to you afterwards. Okay, but managers, I just posted one of the pictures. So let me show you how to explain the small, medium, large, so it's not overwhelming. Let me stop the screen for a second. How many of you have ever had this feeling your first 2 weeks? OMG, the names and uses take forever. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's like it drags so long at every. So when you go buy BMW, I promise you they don't do this. We have BMWs. They don't do this. They don't go, oh, so Mr. and Mrs. Gamboa, you interested in BMW? Okay. Well, let me tell you about the tailpipe. And here's why our tailpipe is great. And they go in like 5 minutes on the tailpipe. And then let me tell you about the steering wheel. And they go in like 10 minutes. They don't do that. They just say, all right, well, this is they give you like general overall facts about the car, don't they? And then if you want to know more, if someone's interested or knows more about, well, can you tell me more about the engine, the horsepower? Then you can go into it. And that's the same concept. Some of you are actually overstimulating the customers with too much information. And that's why they say no, not because they don't like it. It's like too much. Okay. So ready? The Homemaker Plus 8, just so you know, Mrs. Jones, the Homemaker Plus 8, this is for people who have to cook. It's only 7 knives, 2 forks, and a spread. And you'll get these slides, by the way. In fact, this is the next slide you can put in there, managers. I'll put it just sent. The Homemaker Plus 8 is if you have to cook. Managers, if you could forward this, is if it's only 7 knives, 2 forks, and a spreader. You see, when I say it that way, it seems so small. The Homemaker Plus 8, it's for 7. It's only 7 knives, 2 forks, and a spreader. It's if you have to cook. It's really just enough to get you by. And at the bottom, you have the 8 table knives. Okay. By the way, the 8 table knives are not for a family of 8. It's a family of 4, and the 4 in the dishwasher while you use 4. Just so you know, like the 8 plus 8 doesn't mean it's good enough for 8 people. Plus 8 means it's good enough for 4 people. It's usually 2 table knives per household, per customer in the household. So maybe that's a light bulb for some of you. The next set is the medium set. It's our signature. This is for people who like to cook. So basically, it's the people who they have to cook, but once in a while they'll throw down. And just so you know, it's the Homemaker set, but it's just got 3 more tools. And here are the 3 tools. It's got 3 of the most popular customer recommended tools. And the 3 that are in the signature that are not in the Homemaker, it's really simple. It's the Hardy Slicer, the Santoku, and the cheese knife. It's the Hardy Slicer, the Santoku, and the cheese knife. Or really, it's the knife for aggressive cutting, the mini chopper, and the compressed food knife, like cheese and apples that stick to the knife. Okay, so let me again, I'll put this back into the chat. This is the medium, and then I'll put this one into the chat. Okay, so I'll backtrack. Homemaker Plus 8, this is our small set, Mrs. Jones. These are for people if you like have to cook and get out of the kitchen. It's only 7 knives, 2 forks, and a spreader, so it's really just enough to get you by. And you get 8 of the table knives at the bottom, so that 4 people in the family can cook and eat and enjoy the meals, and then 4 probably in the dishwasher. Then we have our medium set, is if you like to cook. So this means you cook like you have to cook, but once in a while you'll throw a party or you'll cook dinner once in a while, like once a week. This is the basic set. It's the small set, but it just has 3 more tools. And the 3 tools are the Hardy Slicer. That's like the aggressive knife cut. The mini chopper called the Santoku. And it's got the cheese knife, which is for compressed food. Also, a really big hit about the signature is this is where people can now, instead of getting the table knife, can get the more traditional steak knife that looks just like the steakhouse knife. Okay, that's the medium. And then our complete set. This is our large, Mrs. Jones. Okay. Our large set. This is the people who love to cook. It really is the best value because it's basically a food processor in a block. Doesn't food processor in a block sound so much more to the point than going through every damn tool? Like imagine if you went through every tool in the complete. You're gonna get someone to say no just so you'll shut up. Right? That's what happens. Sometimes they just say no to the set because it's too much. Versus Mrs. Jones, if you love to cook, this is the best value. It's basically a food processor in the set. You've got your meat knives, you got your vegetable knives, you got all the accessory knives. It's all in there. It's everything you could ever need. And this one has 12 table knives. So for a family of 6, or you can do the steak knife for this as well. Okay. And ready? Let me give you a little tip called grouping. So when you're explaining, take a look at the screen. So this is the complete set. If you tried to explain every tool, it's probably overwhelming. In fact, right now, I'm a division manager. I've been here 26 years, and I don't know that I know every single detail about every single knife still. Most of them. So instead, the complete set is really just 3 packages. You've got your bare necessities. That's the Homemaker. You've got your meat and veggie package, and then you've got your entertainment package. That's a lot easier to explain than every single tool. Okay. So let me do this one more time. This is Jones. So we have 3 sets. This is our small. It's called the basic set, the homemaker +8. This is if you have to cook, like you want to get out of the kitchen, you don't cook that much. It's only 7 knives, 2 forks, and a spreader, and it's really just enough to get you by. You would have 8 table knives, and when they cut through the leather, you would have 8 of those at the bottom, and that way 4 people could eat food, and then there's 4 in the dishwasher for the next meal. Okay, that's the basic, the small set. Then we have our medium set, Mrs. Jones. The medium set is just a tiny bit bigger. Notice how I said that's just a tiny bit bigger, not a lot. It's a tiny bit bigger. And it's the homemaker you just saw, but it's got 3 more tools. And the 3 more tools are the tools for aggressive cutting, the mini chopper, and the knife for compressed foods like cheese and apples. Okay. What's great about these is that the shears already come in the block instead of separately. And then at the bottom are 10 instead of 8 table knives. But also a big hit about these is that people sometimes want the traditional steak knife feel. So this set can be upgraded to a steak knife instead of table knife. And then our large set's called the complete. And this is for someone who either absolutely loves to cook. So you don't have to cook. You actually choose to cook. You're probably cooking dinner a couple of times a week, or you're throwing lots of parties on, multiple weekends, or you just really love to cook. Okay. It's the best value, more or less. It's a food processor and a block. It's got everything you could ever need. And Mrs. Jones, just to summarize it, you've got all the basic tools like the small set. You've got all the meat and veggie knives, and then you've got all the entertaining tools. That's the complete. And this one comes with 12 table knives or steak knives at the bottom. Okay. So let me stop there. Thumbs up if you just see how that's a lot more compact. Okay. And notice I actually explained 3 sets faster than you explain all the damn tools in the homemaker. You guys realize that? I just explained the small, the medium, and large faster than it takes you to go through the whole thing. Now, by the way, you should still go through the names and uses of the homemaker. Why? Because the homemaker is the basic. It's in all 3 sets. You guys see that? Like the homemaker is the car, the wheels, the chassis, the axle, the engine, and the body. Like every car has it. Okay. Last but not least, and I'll show you how it all comes together. I think perspective is really important. This goes back to really understanding price. Okay. So, I show this typically to my office. I haven't showed it in about 2 weeks, but there's this picture you see where, one person sees 7, another person sees 5. And if you stare at it long enough, your brain will explode. It's like, wait, is it 7 or is it 5? It depends on which angle you're looking at. So when you think about the prices, just remember this. And this is great because this isn't Jeff trying to sell you on anything. This is facts. Like this is me. I'm about to show you screenshots from websites that are legit. The price of our 3 most popular sets, not the big set, the most popular sets are the exact same prices as some of the most popular, most used computers in the world. And they're not even baller computers. Like they're not the most baller. If you're a gamer, you could spend 3 times as much on a computer. Our homemaker +8 is only $15.49, $312 a month. Okay. If you go to apple.com, it is literally almost the exact same price as a MacBook 13-inch. One of the most used and most purchased laptops in the world for high school students, not for baller millionaires, for high school students. Okay. I'm not saying you buy it. A lot of times it's the mom and dad that are buying it. By the way, the mom and dad that are buying it, AKA, are the Mac customers. You feel me? The signature, the medium, $26.42. It's only $562 a month. Well, you go to MacBook Pro, you go to the 14-inch, it is the same exact price, roughly, as a 14-inch, depending what processor you get. And then the same thing for the complete. $35.52. It's only $755 a month, and that's the price of essentially a pimped out 16-inch gaming computer from the MacBook Pro. Okay? So small, medium, large. Have to cook, like to cook, love to cook. Everyone understand that? So far, so good? Okay. So all you do is just close on the one that they want. So for example, you don't have to open up your training manual. Okay. You guys know page 14 here? You don't have to open it, but you can if you have it. Right. Right before on page 13, the last line says what? Managers, what is the last line on page 13 before you go to this, what you see on the screen? Let me show you what you get, I believe. Right? Trade payment, what's the last line on page 13? Or anyone, any manager.
But on page 13?
Yeah, like right before you go to this closing.
Right before you start the close?
Yeah, let me show you what you get, right?
Yeah.
Jones, Mrs. Jones, let me show you what you get. That wasn't a trick question. I was just, let me show you what you get. Most of you go into the homemaker, explain the homemaker, and then ask to buy the homemaker. I just want you to change this. Ready? So, Mr. Jones, let me show you what you get. Just explain the three options really simple, the way that I just did. So forget all that. So instead of let me show you what you get, go to the homemaker. Let me show you what you get, Mrs. Jones. We have 3 sets: the small, medium, and large. The small is called the homemaker plus 8 for people who have to cook. They want to get out of the kitchen. It's got 7 knives, 2 forks, and a spatula. And it's got 8 table knives at the bottom. That's really just for 4 people eating, and you have 4 of them in the dishwasher for meals. The medium is called and ready. As you do it, you'll click on the different slide to show it. This is the medium. It's the signature set. It's the same set as the homemaker, but it's got 3 more tools. It's got the customer recommended tools, the one for aggressive cuts, the compressed food like cheese, and it's got the knife for our mini chopper. This is it for people who, they like to cook. They have to cook for the most part, but once in a while they'll throw a party or cook dinner. This one comes with 10 table knives at the bottom, so for 5 people. But what's great is a lot of people like to update and upgrade to the steak knife so they get a more traditional steak knife feel. And then this is our complete, the large set. This is for people who absolutely love to cook, or they really want nice things. They really enjoy cooking. It's really everything you need to cook. It's a food processor in a block. It's got everything you need for the basic tools that I showed you. It's got the meat and veggie knives. It's got all the accessory tools as well, entertaining tools. That one comes with 12 table knives or the 12 steak knives. Mrs. Jones, if you were going to get a set of Cutco today, which set do you think would fit you the best? Are you someone that has to cook, that likes to cook, or do you love to cook? Do you see what I did there? So which one are you? Do you have to cook? Do you like to cook, or do you love to cook? Oh, you like to cook? Okay, and take a look at the screen. The great thing is that's our medium set. And then you just close on the medium set. Oh, you like to cook? Okay, the great thing is that set, this medium set, doesn't quite cost $5,400. In fact, it's not even as much. It's only, and you go into the price of that set. Now, let's say they say no. Great. I like that. Why? Because I just got one of the 5 no's out of the way. You'll have a lot of people that will say no to a signature complete, and they'll get a homemaker. They'll say, honey, we just want to start with the basic for now, right? We weren't really prepared to spend a lot of money, so we'll just get the basic for now. Just by doing this. Like, my goal is not for you to sell signatures and completes all the time. You will when you're more advanced. My goal is that you now present the small, medium, large, so you're selling more homemakers and galleys all the time. Like for me, if I dropped, I would have people that say, "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I really wanted to help you. Let's just get that essentials or galley. We just want to help you out." Most of you, when they want to help you out, they get a peeler and some scissors and a gardening tools. That's how they help you out. Okay. So let me stop there. Light bulbs. Let's see. Are we getting light bulbs? Is that like, you guys understand? Is that a big deal? No? Yeah. Okay. I'm curious. We'll take 1 or 2 from the field. Mason, Jess, Anthony, Trey, anyone? Anyone want to share? Raise your hand. Jess, we got one. And then Tampa, who is it?
Here we go. For me, it was definitely that overstimulating, because in my first 3 appointments, I told her and everything. It was like 2 hours long because I went into a lot of detail about each single knife, and in the end, they were like, "We're not really looking into it. We'll get back to you," type thing. So I'm pretty sure that it was just too much.
Yeah, and that's okay. And by the way, you'll learn how to get through the homemaker set a lot faster. There's another tip called targeting, where you'll just say, "Mrs. Jones, what do you think this trimmer's for?" Yeah, orange knife. Yeah, this would be a great orange knife. And you move to the next one. like a lot of times you can do that. That's just one version. Mason, we got someone over in St. Pete.
Yeah, we got Cam and then Jason, if that's
Let's
cool.
go. Okay, Cam and Jason, that is totally cool. Good, Cam.
Yeah, so I feel like I have been overstimulating my customers when I try to explain everything and anything to them. Like you were saying, like, this is the tailpipe, this is the rotor, like all that kind of stuff. So I feel like condensing it down and making it more simple and to the point is a lot better strategy than explaining everything. That
Right. And Cam, to your point, I'm okay if you guys, before you go into the names and uses, say, "Mrs. Jones, I'm going to go pretty quickly through this. This is more or less the basic car I'm going to show you. Then later on, I'll show you the different options of the car." See that, Mrs. Jones? I'm just going to show you the basic car during this next section, the names and uses. And then later on, I'll show you the different options of the car. Mrs. Jones, you don't use every single part of the car every day. Like, you don't use your windshield wiper every day. You don't use your airbag, hopefully, thank God, every day. But it's always there when you need it because it's part of the car. So this is the basic car. Ready? And you go into the homemaker. And then later on, you'll say, "Mrs. Jones, Let me show you what you get. You show the small, medium, large. Jason, go ahead.
A big takeaway for me was the good products aren't cheap, and then cheap products aren't good. That stood out to me. That's something that I'm definitely gonna put to use.
Yeah, I actually say that line before I go into the Petit Carver page.
I like that one.
Before I show them Cutco. Mrs. Jones, good products are cheap, and cheap products aren't good. You want more? Hey, ready? I'm gonna. Mrs. Jones, I'll tell you what, with our forever guarantee, I'll never have to apologize. Let me see. I'll never have to apologize for poor quality. I'd rather apologize for price now, but I don't want to apologize for quality later. That's why we have the prices that we do. Mrs. Jones, good products aren't cheap, and cheap products aren't good. You know, I'd rather apologize for you and how the price is today than ever have to apologize for quality later, because you'll have it forever. That's another random. We'll do one more. Dale or Dale, if you're from Miami. Dale.
Please no. I was doing a little research real quick when you were talking about starting larger and going down smaller. And I was curious because I know you guys talked about Cutco Kitchen. So I had put everything in like an order to see how much that would cost and how much it would actually be worth. That's a value of like $11,000 that they'll get equivalent for less than $9,000. And on top of that, you're giving them like $2,000, $3,000 in bonuses.
Yeah, and notice that
So-
the number I gave was seven. The example I made up was 7,000, because if you start with like 9, 10,000, you're probably not going to close 9, 10,000. What you're doing is doing a lot of discounting, free stuff, and you'll probably get the number down to closer to 7. So I guess your point, Dale, is that they're getting a tremendous value.
Yeah, essentially it's like they're ending up, I think the number was like 8,700 or something. But
8,700 exactly.
yeah, so they're spending that much, so they're already getting $2,000 off the price and getting another $2,000 or $3,000 in additional free things. So if you're looking at like basically half the price that you're getting to yourself, without having
Yeah,
to pay for it.
I love it. Okay. Trey, are you in front of the computer right now? You could be my pretend customer.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, hi, Miss Trayella. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing fine. And
Yeah,
you?
What are you from New York now? Okay. It's a Cutco peel. That's awesome. Okay, ready?
Goes back and forth.
Okay, ready? Ready? So I'm going to do a live example. So Miss Trella, let me tell you what you get. Mrs. Jones, we have
Okay.
three basic sets. Okay, we have our small, and then you won't show this slide. You'll show the picture of the slide, whatever the number slide is on your slide deck. We have our small. It's called the basic home. It's called the homemaker. We have our medium. It's called the signature, and then we have our complete set. This is our large. Okay. So this first, let me go back to the slide. So this homemaker, Ms. Trella, is the basic. It's a small. It's if you have to cook, you want to get out of the kitchen. It's only got 7 knives, 2 forks, and a spreader, and it's only enough to get you by. And at the bottom, it's got 4 table knives. Those are for eating every day. So you would have 4 to eat and then 4 in the dishwasher for the next meal. Okay, let me click the slide. The next one is our medium set. We call it the signature. It's for people who I would say they like to cook. So they have to cook most of the time, but once in a while, they'll throw down for a dinner once a week, or maybe on a weekend once a month, they'll throw a nice big party and cook a nice big meal. So this one is essentially the same set I showed you before, the small, but it's just got 3 more tools. And these are the customer recommended tools. It's got the Hardy Slicer for aggressive cutting. Think watermelon, cantaloupe, acorn squash. It's got the Santoku for mini chopping. And it's got the compressed cheese knife for not just cheese, but any food that would stick to the knife, like apples, anything that's compressed on the inside. What's also great about this one, Mrs. Jones, if you look at the bottom, you can do 10 steak knives, which is for, There's 10 steak knives, which are 5 people eating and 5 in the dishwasher. But this is great because the signature can upgrade to the steak knife. Some people want the traditional look of a steakhouse steak knife. Okay. And then we've got the complete set, the large. We call it the complete. This is if you love to cook, if you're cooking multiple meals a week, or you love to entertain. And this really is the best value because it has all of our Cutco cooking line. It's basically a food processor and a set, and anything related to cooking you could ever need. You might not use it every day, but you have just in case. So, if you take a look at all those knives, it's essentially got 3 packages. You've got all the basics from the homemaker, the small. You've got all the meat and veggie knives, and you have all the entertaining package involved. It's also got the scissors at the bottom. Oh, and by the way, this one has 12 of the table knives, or you could go with steak knives. Again, that's for about 6 people eating. Okay. So, Mrs. Jones, when you take a look, I'm just curious, do you feel like you're the type that has to cook? Click on the homemaker. Are you the type that likes to cook? Click on the signature. Or do you love to cook? Which one are you? And then Miss Trella will say,
I would say we love like I cook a lot. I kind of like to love to cook. So somewhere in there.
okay. So like to love to cook. Would you say more often than not you're loving cooking or liking cooking most of the time? Where do you lean?
Well, yeah, I like cooking for my family.
Okay. Well, I don't want to be high pressure. So let me show you the medium one. The medium one.
Okay, I love to cook.
Okay.
You got me.
Well, the beautiful thing, Mrs. Jones, let me show you on this piece of paper. That set is not quite $5,400, and I'll cross it out. Go all the way down to Mrs. Jones. That set is only blank per month, and for free, I can offer you blank for free. So, Mrs. Jones, I wouldn't be doing my job today if you wanted to ask you this question. Did you want to go ahead and get that medium set today? And you stop there. You see that? So give me a thumbs up if you see just kind of the feel of how you're closing now. So you're going through the normal presentation. And then at the end, you say, Mrs. Jones, let me show you what you get. You throw the 3 options out, quick explanation, and you ask them which one are they. Do you have to cook, love to cook, or like to cook? Okay, great. The beautiful thing about that set is not quite 5,400 and you close. And you got to make sure you're writing down things. You got to make sure that when you just have to make sure you're writing down. Okay. Last thing, and this is not this message, but I want to give you a little sneak peek for what's going to happen during the Alliance, which we'll teach. We will teach you how to sell the kitchen at some point. So I think you should know that a Cutco kitchen is badass. It is awesome. Okay. The Cutco kitchen, more or less, is a homemaker signature or complete. So they pick, typically it's the complete. They get some type of small, medium, large cookware set. They get all the accessories and they get forks and spoons. Okay. It's beautiful. And this is what we call brand consistency. People who want all their brands to match. Very similar in our kitchen. We're a KitchenAid family, and then we're going to redo our kitchen. If you're familiar, anyone familiar with like Wolf and Sub-Zero, some of those brands. So that's all the same product line. We're going to upgrade to that. A lot of people don't like to mix and match brands. Okay. So a lot of people love the kitchen when they can, get their whole kitchen the same way. So I'm going to put this into the group chats and managers, if you want to forward this one out. This is just a quick way to explain the kitchen. Here's how I would say, if someone says yes to a homemaker, signature, or complete, I would just say, Mrs. Jones, just so you know, because this set suits you, let me show you what a Cutco kitchen looks like. Just throw it out there. Because if they say yes to small, medium, large, you don't know how high they'll go until they say no. Mrs. Jones, because you're getting the set that fits your need, I want to at least show you what a Cutco kitchen looks like. Okay, this is for people who want brand consistency. They want the best, and they'll have everything that they use in their kitchen for entertaining and food prep be Cutco. It's also a family heirloom because you can pass it down. Okay, my last tip: if you really want to sell Cutco kitchens, you actually are not really selling Cutco kitchens. It's you calling in and your manager is helping you sell a Cutco kitchen. Like very rarely someone in their first month on the job is able to close these. But if you call us and they say yes to homemaker signature complete, they say yes on the first ask. Homemaker signature complete, there was no objection, they like it, then you never know. I would say 1 in 5, 1 in 6 times you're selling a kitchen. And kitchen doesn't mean you'll sell everything. It just means they'll get the set of knives they picked and some version of flatware and some version of cookware on top. Okay. Thumbs up so far? Pretty good? Okay. Was that helpful? How about some in your chats? I would love some light bulbs, and a lot of the pictures went out on the chat. How about some light bulbs in the chat, please? Pick up your phones, please. Normally I say put your phones down, but pick up your phones. Light bulbs from that message. And then Mr. Mason, you are on deck. I'm going to quickly go through millionaire mindset and then turn things over to you to end the meeting.
Sounds good, Jeff. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Mason. Gracias, señor. Shannon Fields from Champa Bay says explaining 3 sets faster than the homemaker. Okay.
Check our chat. We got Gabby and Melina with some really profound light bulbs there.
Yeah, they're like literally light bulbs. Wow. When I say post light bulbs, I don't mean just put the emoji, although that is cute. I mean, like, what are some light bulbs? Start higher. So you end higher. That's Chloe from Champa Bay. Love it. Starting off with the basic. Okay. What a big order really is. versus what I thought it was. Love that. Jude says good products aren't cheap. Cheap products aren't good. My man Jude with the tropical background. I remember Jude. Group the knives for bigger sets so it's faster to explain. Love it. Okay. Was that helpful, everyone? Give me some snaps if that was helpful. Okay. Don't do it fresh and cold on the next appointment. Practice it once. You can do it tonight. All right. I'll take a few more. Then I'm going to give you a millionaire tip and turn things over. Knowing there are different audiences. Some like to know every little detail, while others would prefer it more quickly summary. That's great. That's from South Florida. 4 to 5 no's to a yes, says Tristan over in the Bay. Champa Bay, that is. Okay, beautiful. Good stuff. So what I want to do before I turn things over to Mason, who's going to wrap up the meeting,